And we are back. Okay, so I redid the top of Blight Town because it was a pain in the ass. And then I got back down here with the souls. I put a level into strength. No, I put a level into dex because our weapon scales better with it. Then strength slightly, which is nice. And then I also realised that I have been saying, oh, this is the fast roll, and I've not been fast rolling this entire time. This is the fast roll. That's the fast roll. It has the same number of iframes as the slow roll, but the animation is quicker. Or at least between the start and the end is quicker. The recovery is a lot quicker. So we're going to make sure we maintain that. And we're going to go straight into the boss room, I think. See how we do. Because what we've done is we've picked up a number of things which we might consider the tools provided. There's still some more things we could probably get, but I'm not going to bother. We'll just put the shadow stuff back on. This crimson robe stuff is a little heavier than the shadow stuff, but it provides us way more in terms of defense, with the exception of poison and bleed. And whilst we've got poison, I think we're going to go for a slightly higher defense. We're going to keep the roll, slightly higher defense. Reverse hollowing. We're going to bring our mate and see if we can kill this spider. So last time we had it, I think this halberd was doing like 100 and something damage, but now it's doing 245. It should be a little bit of an easier ride, or at least a little bit less stressful. Perhaps a little bit less stressful. It may not be. It may just be, this is how it is, and we'll just have to get good. There are a couple of other things that we've done in the meantime as well. We got the extra poise from the wolf ring, is it? Whatever ring we found in Darkroot Garden, and we got the shield, which gives us stamina regeneration, which is massively helpful because it'll mean that we're that little bit able to get another roll out of the way if we need to, or we'll be able to get that extra attack in if we need it, that kind of thing. We're going to be a little bit more careful as far as attacks are concerned. We're not going to get greedy. We're just going to try it out. See how we get on. We've got plenty more purple moss from the tree dudes. And so that's that. These guys, some of the few animated lips in this in the game, actually. If you kill them, these sacks on their backs burst forth loads of maggots, and the maggots are awkward to kill. We don't need that on at the moment. What we're going to do is we're going to use our power within pyromancy after we've summoned Manny to Mildred. The power within pyromancy will give us a boost to our damage at the expense of our health, but it's more like constant tick damage rather than actually damaging ourselves. So as you can see, our health is now dropping. So we're going to not dig around this. We can still heal through that, that's not a problem. take a heal just to keep our eyes on it. Mildred is still in the fire, which is another shit thing to be doing, Mildred. So Mildred is there really A for damage because she's quite powerful, she's fairly strong. She will kill the boss on her own if you can keep her alive. That's not what we're trying to do with her though. She's there to keep the boss off our backs. While we do this. She's going to do something awful now, I can feel it. Right, where's this one? Go greedy. Explode. Whack her in the butt. One more. There we go. We did as we were told. We used the tools provided. We got the soul of Queelag and the twin humanities. It's worth bearing in mind that power within was still ticking away at the end there, and didn't stop ticking because we killed the boss. It stopped ticking because it ran out. It will also kill us if we let it. So here we go, the end of Act 1. There we go, we've opened the gate. And we got the Bonewood home. That's nice. So now we can get out of here. We got 22,000 souls, which is even nicer. We got a handful of Esthers. So there are a few places we can go now. One of them is this mysterious wall here.
What have we here? Are you a new servant? But you have no eggs. No matter. Go along and have audience with our fair lady. I pray that you will mind your manners.
Alright. So we've got a bonfire. Which is handy, but we don't want to use it right now because we're going to go back out of Blight Town and approach the fortress where the gate was. She's a firekeeper, and she can reinforce our Estus flask with that firekeeper song that we got in the bottom of the, or in the top of Blight Town, which was cool. She doesn't say anything. There is a thing that you can get to make her say stuff, but we haven't got that. We can enter her covenant and give her humanity, at which point she'll open that door there as a shortcut to the demon ruins, which might be handy for us later, especially if we want to save Solaire. We may not want to. I haven't decided yet. I think the kind of canon ending is we don't, so perhaps we'll not. We're kind of playing this in the order it was intended. But there's another bonfire here. A massive drop into some lava. something awful looking over there. A massive drop into lava, and what appears to be a Capra demon right down there, just at the top of the hat. The boss door. We could go and fight that boss now. I'm not going to for the time being. We're going to walk back to the bonfire with the Bahamut home. We're going to put a couple of levels in, and then we're going to go to the fortress. We're going to skip the Great Hollow for that time being, unless we get really stuck. But there's nothing in there that we really need on a kind of first playthrough, uninformed playthrough, do you know what I mean? So, what are we going to have? If we could put up strength, that'll give us an extra 1 damage on our weapon. That's not massively important damage. Dexterity will give us an extra 3. Vitality will give us an extra 30 health. Endurance will give us an extra 1 for our equip load. I think we're going to put them both into vitality for the time being. And that's that. Where are we going? So, to the fortress. What we'll need to do with the fortress is we'll need to go through to Firelink Shrine or Darkroot Garden, and then once we're in Darkroot Garden we need to go through... Oh no, before we get to Darkroot Garden, the Undead Parish by Andre. It might be that he's able to give us a bit of reinforcement on this halberd as well. That'd be handy. Because at the moment I think we're on +6 or +7, which has been good enough until now, but will stop being good enough pretty soon. We may want to switch to something with a bit more staying power. The halberd's not bad by any stretch. It's got consistently good damage output, reasonable scaling, but it may not be suitable for what we want to do with it. But we'll see how we go. We'll see how we go. This next kind of act, if you want, is kind of the end of the first half of the game. Once we've gone through the fortress and killed the boss that comes after it, once we get into Anor Londo, but we will burn that bridge when we come to it. Right, fuck you guys, I'm not interested in you. Yeah. Alright, I don't think they'll follow us up here, which is good. Valuable drinks. So we've got a couple of options actually. Not a massive amount of options, but we have got a couple. We need to go to Firelink Shrine. We go through Firelink Shrine for this. In Firelink Shrine is the primordial serpent who'll tell us more about why we're here and what they want us to do. Or we could ignore him entirely and go and meet his mate. Part of me is tempted to do that. But that'll mean doing that part, the flooded city, a little earlier than I'd really like to, but it needs doing at some point, regardless of whether I want to do it or not. Same goes with the catacombs, which I guess we could do now. Get the rite of kindling, that might be handy for us actually. Yeah, let's do the catacombs.
Did you ring the second bell? That is incredible, I must say. But now we have a new problem. It's noisy, it snores, and its breath is lethal. This is no laughing matter, I tell you.
Alright. So, he's still there, whatever. Laurentius is still here. Let's pump up the pyromancy flame a little, because all it requires is souls. And one of the things I'm probably going to do is lose souls. We'll take combustion as well. And we'll take fireball as well. And then I can attune 2 lots of fireball and we can have 16 of them. This is the guy who tells us the plot if we talk to him. I'm not going to talk to him because I like the idea of the Dark Wraiths, which is the other covenant. We'll remember these skeletons from episode 2. Still not doing a lot of damage. But that's fine because we can backstab them. They'll also fall apart. Now when we get to the catacombs, which are down here, we will run into skeletons that respawn because they've got not pyromancers, necromancers that will reanimate them until the necromancers are dead. So we've got to be careful of that. There's only a handful of necromancers, but they seem to have a number of skeletons that are kind of tied to them. And those skeletons will respawn until the necromancer is dead. That guy is one. This guy is another. So you'll notice when we're killing these guys, we don't get any souls for this. Which means we didn't kill the enemy. Because the guy that we're looking for is through this. Get out of my way. He's through here. Where are you, lad? Feels like we're about the right level for this area because it doesn't feel too easy, but it feels like we can still do it. It feels achievable. There's a number of locked doors in here we have to use these levers to do. Check out how disgusting it is in here. Super gross. Bonfire. Let's sit at this one because I think the last one we sat at was Blight Town. We don't want to be respawning in Blight Town and having to move all the way up here. That's not in our interests. Two Skellyways. Okay, now this is a bit of a maze and there are some traps in here. Some of these statues are pregnant or holding a child, and if they are, then the spikes will shoot out of them when we go past them. There's another necromancer. Now there's a couple of things that we could have done with this. If you remember, we spoke to that the Welsh lad. Ah shit. We spoke to the Welsh guy, and what he said was that we would need divine weapons to get through here efficiently. If we use divine weapons, the necromancer's spells don't work, and his reanimation aura doesn't reanimate these skeletons. We are fucking dying here. Good job we sat at that bonfire. The necromancer doesn't respawn. Which is fine. So long as we're kind of comfortable with doing it, it's not a problem to kind of rush in and kind of achieve an objective, even if it's not something we live through, you know? Ooh, a scimitar. So that's what a lot of this this area is going to be. It's going to be small wins, coming back, killing these guys, because he's not there no more. And I wonder if it's time to use... Let's have a crack with something that has a bit more heft to it. Zweihander. Oh, I still can't. Ugh, not that effective. There's a lot of bleed over there. Alright, fine. We'll just carry on with what we were doing. Halberd +6. Might be worth us looking at something that does a bit of bleed resistance. But I don't think we've got anything that does bleed resistance. Oh, we got this great shield. Should we have a feel of it? So it bashes instead of doing a parry, which is interesting. Ha! Interesting. Alright. Where's our enemy? Here he is. Hard to say whether we're doing better or worse with it. Let's get back to Grass Crest, because that was a thing. Grab our souls, even though they were relatively few. Come on then, lad. Stab you in the back. And then we've got these graves. That's a little bit annoying, but whatever. Okay. It'll be a bit of a slog, I think. Ooh, a Lucerne. A Lucerne, I think, is another halberd weapon. We've got the right parameters for it. It's going to do a lot less damage, but let's have a look at the weapon arc. Vertical. Horizontal. Interesting. We're not going to use it for now. Some of these have little trapdoors or ladders in them. This one doesn't, which is fine. And there is an element of just killing everything in here, which is a little bit frustrating. Once we're more familiar with the landscape, we can use a bunch of shortcuts that are available to us. But realistically, we want to, since we're not speedrunning, we don't really want to be considering some of those shortcuts at this very moment. Nice. Because we don't want to be missing some of the things that we would miss, because what we could do is drop down to these ledges from that bridge that we came up, but it would be a little bit awkward. Man. Oh, it's even demonstrating something. Lost souls, dudes. Some handy extra damage there. Oh, a lot of knockback there. Are these guys reanimated as well? Is there another necromancer for it? I think there is. Awkward. Come on, that. We want this. So the switch turns the bridges over so that they're not spikes on top, which can make them difficult to navigate. There's another necromancer in here, we can see him, there he is, this guy. Ah, fuck off. Do with something that hits a little harder than this. Possibly even a divine weapon. Let's have a look. I don't think we've got much faith, to be honest. So divine weapon might not be what we're doing, but it might make things a little easier if we've got that sword. So if you remember the undead dragon in the Valley of the Drakes, that dragon has a sword that has a divine modifier that will kill these skeletons without us having to kill the necromancer. Pretty handy. As well as that, I think we gave Andre the Divine Ember, or maybe we didn't. Let's go and see Andre and see if he's able to pump something up into Divine for us. Because even though the Divine stuff will scale by faith, of which we don't have very much, it might give us a little bit of an edge in there. How much faith do we have? Very little. Interesting. Okay. Let's see what Andre's going to say for himself anyway. I'm not going to sit at Andre's bonfire because our last bonfire is still in the catacombs, and we can kind of just walk back to it very, very quickly if we need to. Which is what we'll do if we can't do anything fun here. What we could do is upgrading something I think does blunt damage rather than thrust damage. I think the skeletons are more vulnerable to it. We'll need some souls regardless. So we'll use both of these. In fact, we'll use all of the consumable souls for the sake of argument, and then worst case scenario is we'll be able to get something and maybe put it on, which is always handy, because we do still need to put in a couple of levels into strength so we can use the Spine Hammer if we want to. And maybe it's time to
I've seen one of those before. Might you consider my You've made a find.
So the Divine Ember is the one we got from the Watchtower past the Butterfly, which was a couple of levels ago. We want a handful of Titanite shards to get us leveled on this Zweihander. Regular thrust. Is the Zweihander what we want to do? We could just do the axe. Turn it into a divine axe for a meme. I am deliberating. What do we need for the Great Axe? 32 for the Great Axe. Whack. Morningstar could be handy because it does the strike blunt damage that we're after. When we're back into shields. So it does thrust. What does whip do? Regular. Interesting. A divine whip, perhaps. Scales. Should we have a divine whip? That might be stupid. That might be a bad idea. Let's get this Zweihander going. What do we need? Another 3 Titanite shards. And then if we modify that one into a divine Zweihander. Yeah, we're not going to need a faith requirement on that.
Don't get yourself killed.
And that'll be slightly cursed. But fine, whatever. And then we're going to do the unthinkable. We're going to use some of these boss souls we got. I don't intend on using it. What you can use them for is you can use them to build special weapons. The Soul of the Butterfly gives you a spear, which we're not going to use, and the Soul of Queen-like gives us a sword that levels by how much humanity we've got. We never have very much. It feels more like an online play method. So what we'll do is we'll take some, we'll take the souls from it. We'll jump back to the catacombs. We'll put up our strength by 1 more, and then we need 10k souls. Before we can two-hand this. Fortunately, the status effect that we get from our shield with the increased come on mate, use your words. Increased stamina regeneration is quite helpful, and it still exists. We don't need it right now though, we don't need that Zweihander for now. We can use the halberd for the stuff that's not going to resurrect. It's only once we get further down that's a bit of a pain in the ass. That's a cool... Where is this water coming from? Cool water. I never really looked at it. Okay, I'll get some souls. We need another 10k for the level. Which is quite a lot considering we're getting fuck all for these. Only getting 100 and something a piece for these, so they're only really as useful as vanilla undead. And maybe we could have gone and grinded for those 10k souls somewhere. But that wouldn't be fun to watch. This may not be fun to watch. But at least it's honest. Another centaur. Maybe we just cheese it through. Get out of their aggro range nicely. Okay. Trick was to just not pull a load of guys with us. Oh shit, don't do this to us. Tree, very nice. Okay, there's some cool stuff in some of these. I forget which ones. I forget what goes where. So we're going to go and get the bonfire, which I think is around here. Solid around that. Nice. There's definitely a blacksmith in here. Who we may want if we want to ascend our weapons to flame weapons. Ah, there's a guy. Skull Lantern, excellent. Skull Lantern is one of the few light sources in the game that we can use. The only downside of it is it takes its place. It takes place of our shield, which is frustrating. I can't remember what to do here. Do I just drop? Oh, I'll tell you what, we've got some prism stones, don't we? Or did we not get them? We didn't get them. Okay. Maybe that's not where we want to be then. For the time being. We're not getting a lot of backstabs here, partly because I'm getting the wrong angle on them. You have to be more or less on the same plane as them, like vertically, to get backstab. Check this out. Yeah. Right, now where the hell are we going? Oh, we opened this. Yeah, that was it. And then we could drop down here. Oh, should we fucking do it? Oh, Great Scythe, nice. Interesting. Okay, the Great Scythe is another halberd weapon. Oh, it gets it back here. Cool. Yeah, the Great Scythe is another halberd weapon, similar to what we've got here. But the moveset is very different, and it does like loads of bleed damage and shit. It's pretty solid. I think we're going this way. More precipitous drops. What we want to do is look at this suspicious looking wall. What we got ourselves a bonfire. It's definitely what we need right now. Can't quite level up yet. Souls. Soul of the Proud Knight is going to give us far too many souls. Fuck it. We'll also want to, for the sake of argument, we'll kindle this bonfire. Just so that we've got a load going into the boss area. This episode's run on a little bit longer. Probably on account of being a little bit shit. Okay, strength 24, very nice. Now, we're going to use Scythander, which in this case is the Divine Weapon. And if we notice it, it's got 132 physical damage and 160 magic damage, and it also does an auxiliary effect of 110 holy damage. So it's going to be quite useful against these skeletons and demons and things that are down here. What does the Great Scythe do? Not a lot, except it does bleed quite heavily. Maybe we'll look into doing sights, because it scales quite nicely with dex. Our halberd does a lot more physical damage, but doesn't do anything else on top of that. So we actually should have, with our Scythander now, a more respectable damage profile. But it's been 43 minutes, so we're going to call that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.